Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Namibia. Now, according to Afrobarometer's recent report, Namibia is a country with the least appetite for entrepreneurship on the continent. The report says that 44% of Namibians work for the government, followed by the private sector. Now, entrepreneurs in Namibia face significant systemic and environmental challenges that hinder their ability to succeed and scale their businesses, which can create the impression of a difficult business environment. Now, to help us understand how Namibians, especially the youth, can be more entrepreneurial, Danny Meyer, who is the director and founder of SME Compete. Mr. Meyer, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for making time to talk to us.
Good morning, Lapewa, and good morning to all the viewers countrywide.
All right. First things first, as someone who has been in the SME and business space, from your observation, would you say most Namibians prefer not to do business?
No, I don't think that that's quite accurate. There are many people, which of course data has not been captured from, who are self-employed. Self-employed in the townships across the country, in settlements and so on. So it's not as if there is aversion to entrepreneurship, but some of the challenges have to be addressed, and I'm sure we'll be covering some of those during this interview. So I think that's incorrect to say that there's a general aversion or reluctance to venture into the business arena.
Yeah. Let's just perhaps get into the challenges. What would you say are some of those challenges?
Well, of course, we start off with the regulatory environment. It's quite costly, not only to venture into business, but there's a lot of bureaucracy, red tape, um, and obstacles that the systems place in the way. And then, of course, the other challenges would be access to finance to start your business or to grow your business, skills. There's deficiency when it comes to skills. Finding affordable workspace. We find some people out of frustration will just start selling along the roadside. So these are some of the challenges. But of course, it also starts with the educational system. I think the educational system, starting at primary level already, has perhaps persuaded many, far too many, to be job seekers rather than job creators.
Yeah. So, from what you just said, being job seekers to job creators, so people would rather look for jobs than start their own businesses. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because of the, as I say, the encouragement, the ease of doing business is not there. So we find a lot of people, as I said previously, who are self-employed. This could be youngsters walking around selling boiled eggs, brochins and polonies, um, doing some manual work, carrying things for people and so forth. So we find a lot of people who are doing that. So Namibians generally are motivated. They're not going to sit around and do nothing. They realize that if you provide labor, or if you buy and sell something, you're going to earn an income, and that income is going to sustain you. So we find there's a prevalence of that. But when it comes to migration, going actually into business as such, because those who are self-employed, as soon as they get a job opportunity, they will leave. And that is something that we haven't been too gracious on promoting as a nation. We have spent a great deal of time and resource focusing on foreign direct investment, mobilizing foreigners, um, enticing foreigners to come and invest in Namibia. And so that's been the mindset ever since the attainment of nationhood. There's been a great deal of focus placed on foreign direct investment. Yet we have spent so little on promoting an entrepreneurship and an enterprise culture right there in the domestic market, whether it be at a village level, in rural areas, settlements, or in the city or in the suburbs of the city. So this is where we need to address that. And I must say that the president has constantly referred to the number of jobs that are being created by the informal sector, which far outstrips jobs that foreign direct investment could bring to Namibia. And we particularly have become a bit lax because we think that mining and the energy sector is going to be the panacea for job creation. And it's not, because by the nature of those sectors, they actually don't create a lot of jobs, even during the development stage, let alone, once they're operational. So we must follow the lead. What the president is saying is, let's mobilize from grassroots up. Far too little attention has been paid on that. And we applaud. The Ministry of Education has incorporated entrepreneurship into its curricula at primary school level. But are those teaching the youngsters, are they actually being supported so that they have the necessary material? Or they're just following what is set out in a textbook? What about the practical side of it? Taking groups, children to expose to the local trade fair, um, arranging tours of business enterprises, shopping malls, just to have a look at what are the businesses, what are they doing there? So we inculcate that enterprise culture. We foster it in young Namibians already from a young age, and that's where things are going wrong. So I do have a problem with the survey and the results and the allegation that entrepreneurship is lacking in Namibia. That's not the case. I think it's just we have misdirected resources, and we need to see how we can actually encourage those who we have ignited a spark of entrepreneurship, how we can help them actually venture into the arena.
Yeah. Now, with that said, how can we make entrepreneurship more appealing to the youth or to the young Namibians, especially in a culture that seems to value job security over risk taking?
Well, I think it already starts at home. Um, I engage every day, all day throughout the country with youngsters who are interested in venturing into business. I have a great deal of exchanges during the average day. Also, not only face to face, but many will send me a WhatsApp message if they have the ability, they have a device, and I even get emails as well. And these are even from youngsters who are in the midst of their studies, either at a vocational training center or at a tertiary institution, expressing an interest but not knowing where to go. So it really starts with us at home. We as parents, we need to encourage the understanding of basic economics 101, that you generate wealth as a nation by creating something, by providing a service. We need to encourage that mindset. And then, of course, when it comes to actually working with youngsters, we need more mentors out there. We need to appeal to those who are already in business. Um, to take some of your time and help others who are starting up informally, encouraging them. And then when it comes to the public sector, we need to have a mindset change in the civil service. The civil service, the officials, the local economic development officers in municipalities, the economists and other development personnel at the regional government structure. And then, of course, in the regional offices of the various economic ministries, they should be open to supporting, giving talks at schools, encouraging youngsters when they have opportunities to actually venture into business. Now, I just want to end up by saying a lot of the youngsters that I engage with will tell me that their parents tell them, no, you must study hard so that you can go to university and become a teacher. You can get a job in a bank, or you can get a position in government. So it already starts there where the mindset of the whole nation must change. we seem to be more friendly and welcoming when it comes to foreign investors, yet we don't actually appreciate the investors right there in our community, the entrepreneurs, the one who's fixing your clothes, tailoring, the one who fixes your shoes, the hairdresser, the nail technician, the caterer. We don't seem to, the little tuck shop, the convenience store where you can quickly run and get some bread or margarine just down the corner. We don't seem to appreciate those people. We just take them for granted. And in our programs where we teach Economic 101 and entrepreneurship promotion and so on, that is for us very often the starting point. Who are the business people within your community? And inevitably, those on the program will cite a retail chain, a supermarket. We say, no, no, no. Let's go down, right down to basics. Where do you get something if you need it in a hurry? What about the tuck shop? Where can you go if you need to have a garment tailored, shortened, the hem shortened, fix, and so on? And so that's where it actually starts, right at grassroots level. And the Excellency, the President, has talked about that frequently over the last months, that we need to really look at grassroots, where we start, we ignite that spark of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, briefly, perhaps before we let you go, Mr. Mayor, one of the local newspapers is reporting today that the informal sector contributes 12% more to the GDP than the mining industry. Would you say this is surprising to you?
Not at all. That is we have known that, and that's why we have since the genesis of the entity that I'm with, we have focused on working with the informal sector. We see the informal sector as the incubator, as the starting point for anybody wishing to embark on the entrepreneurial journey. We routinely engage with the local authorities, and we say we do understand there's the traffic safety, so you've got to be careful. You can't allow street vendors to be selling right there at the intersection and so on. We understand those things. We understand that there are laws and bylaws that have to be applied. But what we then say is, what alternative do we have? What solution can we come up with to provide the place where those entrepreneurs, fledgling entrepreneurs, can operate from? And inevitably, they will say, oh, we're going to create an open market. Well, it sounds theoretically very good, but the open market is positioned so far away from where customers are. So again, we don't seem to be understanding each other when we say that the entrepreneurship, the drive is there. How do we facilitate? Do we make it easy? Because if somebody starts in business, even if it's just buying and selling something, making something, fixing something on the roadside, that's the first step. From there onwards, they will become the Opa Frans Ndongos, the Harold Popkowitzes of tomorrow. But we need to make a start somewhere. And it seems as if the regulators and those of us who are in the enterprise and entrepreneurial space, we're not understanding each other. Final word here is I keep talking about these parking garages in the city center using Windhoek as an example. I say most of those garages were built at a time when there was a lot of traffic coming into the city. There's been a great deal of decentralization. So those parking garages, the parkades, multi-level, you find that less than 30% of it's actually being used to park vehicles during the average business
Thank you
day.
so much.
Why aren't some of those turned into open markets? So, there are a lot we can do. We have the resources. We just need to understand each other. We need to see each other as moving forwards, holding hands, not being rigorous when it comes to applying rules and regulations.
Thank you so much,
The
Mr.
rule
Mayor.
book is flexible.
All
Let's
right.
bend
Well,
it.
all right. Well, Mr. Mayor, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and apologies for cutting you there.
No, in the PYU, unfortunately, when I get going, it's difficult to stop because I see there's so much potential,
No
but we're losing
worries.
opportunities. Thank you very much, and you have a good festive season if we don't talk again. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Likewise, sir.